distinctive and exclusive range of interior solutions that combines functional excellence with design appeal. Solutions with integrated, innovative, ergonomic features to well-designed workplaces. Our company is based on the inherent values that shape the core of who we are. It is through our living values that we continue to fulfill the promise of our ideal and environmental design standards. Each and every groundbreaking product we've introduced over the years has been the result of our team's hard work and dedication to provide our absolute best to who we care most about, who is our customers. Whether the job is big or small, our team is used to solving complicated tasks and makes sure to get projects to successful completion. Whether it is local or global. This is why Labmodal is known as one of Europe's leading manufacturers of innovative system solutions for devices used in laboratory facilities, hospitals, and educational facilities. Solutions that can be easily adapted to the growing needs and workflows demands of the future. Labmodal, designing safety.
It's for fun with you.
For your hospital, chemical storage, classroom interior design, school furniture, storage units, fume covers for schools or hospital system cabinets, you will please get in touch with Labmodal via email at info@labmodal.com or visit our website at www.labmodal.com. Welcome back, and you are still watching with us live here in the Filipinos World. Based on the results of the 2019 survey of the Overseas Filipinos, the number of overseas Filipino workers or OFWs who worked abroad at any time during the period April to September 2019 was estimated at 2.2 million. Overseas contract workers or OCWs, or those with existing contract, comprised of 96.8% of the total OFWs during the said period. 173 party lists and at least 5 OFW party lists were known to have filed in the Commission of Elections for the May 9, 2022 polls, and they are Advocates and Keepers Organization of OFWs Incorporated or ACO-OFW, Aktibong Kaagapay ng mga Manggagawa or Aktibong Kaagapay, One Filipinos Worldwide Coalition Party List or OFW, ACTS Overseas Filipino Workers Coalition of Organizations or ACTS OFW, and OFW Family Club Incorporated or OFW. All right, Nance.
Ma'am Agnes, no? Bakit nga ba kailangan natin pang bumoto ng mga representante ng OFW sa Kongreso? Joining us this afternoon, and please help us welcome our guest, first nominee of ACTS OFW Party List, Ms. Imee Enriquez. Good afternoon, ma'am. And our second guest is the second nominee of ACTS OFW Party List, Congressman Orestes Salon. Good afternoon, Kong.
Good afternoon po. Good afternoon sa lahat ng ating mga OFWs worldwide.
And our third guest is the first nominee of OFW Family Club Party List, Mr. Roy Seneres. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, the Filipinos World. Good afternoon, Congressman Salon, Ma'am Imee Enriquez, Ma'am Agnes Ali, and sa lahat po ng nanonood, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Alright, magandang hapon po sa kanilang lahat. Ms. Imee Enriquez and Congressman Orestes Salon ng ACTS OFW at kay Sir Roy Seneres po ng OFW Party List. Alright, I'll start by asking this to Ms. Imee Enriquez and Congressman Orestes Salon. Pwede nyo bang i-share or ibahagi sa amin kung ano yung main thrust and objectives ng ACTS OFW as an organization and as a party list? Can we start from Ma'am Imee?
Thank you, Miss Agnes. Good afternoon sa lahat.
lahat ng tagapakinig, maraming salamat for having us here with you tonight. Good afternoon po kay Sir sa OFW Family Club and sa aking kasama po, and also kay Sir kay Roy Seneres pala kanina, and kay Mr. Nash. Yun po, the Party List Trust is to effectively represent the OFW sector in the House of Representatives, particularly in crafting, amending laws, resolutions, and other issues and concerns. We aim to optimize its presence in the government by approaching funds to projects and programs that will help improve government services to OFWs. Dito po ipapasok natin yung pong kakayahan, kaalaman. Meron po kaming 3K na sinusundan po: kaalaman, kakayahan, patungo sa magandang pangkabuhayan po, sa kabuhayan. So we will become the bridge and the link doon sa mga proyekto ng mga government agencies na hindi po naaabot ng ating mamayan. And we are here not just for the OFWs but also for all Filipinos and for OFWs and for the families, and as well as all the Filipinos who are in need of our services po. So in this, we will be able to alleviate the flights of distress over OFWs through timely and swift coordination to government agencies, thus to provide services po. Gagamitin po namin yon, yung aming yung mga programang hindi po naaabot ng karamihan po ng ating mga mamamayang Pilipino dahil po sa kakulangan ng kaalaman po. So I think si Cong Salon will have something more to say.
Yeah, si Congressman Orestes Salon po, sir. Maaari niyo rin po bang ibahagi bakit ngayong pangalawang pagkakataon ng OFW ay express to run again in Congress as an OFW party list?
Oh yes, maraming salamat po sa pagkakataong ito. Well, as the title of our party list mismo ay OFW, definitely we will represent, as all the other party list groups, this marginalized sector in Congress by means of legislation. So in short, kami po ay nakatuon sa the usual protection of the general welfare and promotion of the general welfare of OFWs. But because of this exigency, yung pandemic sa ngayon, nakatutok po kami sa reintegration and focus on the OFW and their families. By reintegration, we mean because of the many number of people of OFWs that have been displaced abroad. In fact, they joined the unemployed workers in the country, which I think at least 4 million of our local workers in the country have been displaced. Together with the 1 million from OFWs, nakatuon po kami sa reintegration, which means giving them access to knowledge through skills training, and definitely after that is access to livelihood. So in general, ganun po nakatutok po yung aming objective po and vision for the OFWs.
Marami pong salamat, Congressman Orestes. Sir Roy Seneres, nakikita ko na ang OFW has into the platform of reintegrating or have projects for the integration of local displaced OFWs. He said that there are around 1 million OFWs who are displaced now in the country. What's also the main thrust and objectives of OFW Party List? Is it different or same as of OFW?
It's because of the situation of our OFWs, wherein there are issues affecting them in the pre-employment stage or the pre-departure stage. And there are pressing issues likewise affecting them in the employment stage. and in the latter leg of their career, where they are now seeking to go back to the Philippines, either temporarily or the common term for good, which touches upon what the Honorable Congressman Salon emphasized on the reintegration. We as well in the OFW Family Party List are advocating likewise, covering all those areas. Those areas are very important. One does not outweigh the other. And I agree with Congressman Salon that the issue of reintegration is very crucial at this point, considering that we just experienced a very dire pandemic the past 2.5 years, where according to the OWA, or Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, and together with the Department of Foreign Affairs, there are around over 500,000, conservatively speaking, OFWs who were repatriated by these agencies by reason of being displaced. Therefore, we at the OFW Family Party List are also looking into that, and we need the collective effort. It is not just a one office or one organization job, considering the fact that, as mentioned earlier, there are around 2 million OFWs immediately affected because of the situation set forth, and a total of 10 million are still sacrificing abroad, most of whom are trying to reinforce themselves in their employment status prior therewith, and some are seeking a new greener pastures. So these are all tall orders for all of us, and hopefully once given the chance by our modern day heroes, we will be able to roll up our sleeves and focus on this, all these areas that I just mentioned. And then these are the areas that the OFW Family Party List covers as well.
Marami pong salamat. You know, ang pagiging isang OFW party list may be coined into this question. Bago kayo mag-express ng pagtulong and you have this, what's this, thrust and objectives of helping really the OFWs, matanong ko, have you been an OFW or an ex-OFW, and what made you believe that your party list may be that go-to of the OFWs? And with that, how do you know that the plights, or do you really know the plights and issues of the OFWs? Maybe I can address first those questions to Ms. Imee.
Good afternoon again. Yung ako po ay isang OFW for 11 years. I work overseas. I know the hardship of living and being away from your family for so long. But it's with me when during those times I was young, and so it's okay. But now that I reach this age, I don't want my fellow countrymen to go abroad, especially those can you hear me? I think my internet connection is fluctuating. I'm sorry, but for me now that I reach this age, ayoko na po na sana, isang pangarap ko po talaga sa mga darating na panahon na pupunta po ang ating mga kababayan sa ibang bansa, hindi po dahil sa kakulangan ng trabaho po sa Pilipinas, kundi po para po talaga mag-career growth or to improve their knowledge about their professions. Hindi po katulad ngayon that we don't have any choice, kasi nga po talagang aaminin to, we have to face the reality that our country is really in need of jobs. And the reason why, as mentioned kanina po ni Congressman Salon, that we are focusing on their integration, because karamihan po ng mga OFWs, they always plan how to make a living when they're in the country, when they're outside of the Philippines, but they forget to plan how they will live after their life overseas. Pagdating po dito sa Pilipinas, hindi na po nila alam paano po magpapatuloy ng pagbuhay po when their families are still very much in need of help po pagdating dito. So doon po tayo naka-anchor palagi po. And for the distress po, when it comes to problems po talaga ng OFW, kami po ay nakatutok dyan dahil po hindi po natin talaga maiwasan paminsan-minsan na meron po mga ganang problem. na dumadating po. So, yung first question po, I think I was able to address it. Yung next question po, is it about the plight of the OFWs? Sorry, Ms. Agnes.
Ano pa, parang sa tingin niyo po, bakit sa tingin niyo ang Acts OFW is the go-to, parang ano nang pinupuntahan ng mga OFWs na nangangailangan? What makes it like, you know, a center for the
Yes.
OFWs, if you may consider that?
Yeah, because for us po, you know, we are composed of, you know, power team po kami, the ACS OFW. Now po, kasi katulad ko po, I can give livelihoods. And si Congressman Salon po, he is agriculture expert. And yung third nominee po namin is reintegrated engineer also from overseas, and meron po siyang sariling na pong farm, nasa farm school po. And then meron po kaming representative na nasa co-op din po, and then sa training. So we are composed of different people who has different specialties po. In that, meron din po kaming OFW, mga advocate and welfare division po, who took care of all the distressed workers. So, pag sa ACS OFW po, parang yung composition po ng team namin, andun po lahat from pagdating po sa kasanayan, pagdating po sa kaalaman na ibibigay namin based on our experience, and also for the pangkabuhayan po. So lahat po tinatakal po ng ACS OFW yan kung mabigyan po ng pagkakataon po. We wanted to be the bridge ng government po na maibigyan po namin ng magandang kabuhayan po yung ating mga mamamayang Pilipino through reintegration po.
Okay. Maraming salamat. Siguro mas susugan ko doon sa tanong kay Congressman Orestes, no? And I've known that Congressman Orestes had already been an experience with regards to legislation, proposing bills within the Congress. Congressman, with your experience and knowledge within Congress, how far can you put forth ACS OFW as the go-to center of the OFWs in need?
Well, una, I'd like to answer the first question, Ma'am Agnes. No, I am not an OFW, but I was abroad as a scholar, choosing between scholarship and an employment with the National Guard in Riyadh. I finished all the documentation. I was also ready to leave. Dumaan na po ako sa PDOS and lahat ng mga pre-departure requirements. No. I chose my scholarship, but my scholarship in Malaysia I had an experience with una pa lang yung mga batches. This was in early 80s. Yung ating mga domestic help nandun sa Kuala Lumpur. I organized the Working Filipino Apostolate as a scholar there. Ang daming mga Pilipina na after Sunday Mass at the St. John Cathedral, they converged doon sa, mayroon kaming mga tambayan po doon. At lahat ng pinag-uusapan namin problema ng ating OFWs. I was immersed. Sa tingin ko po, I don't have to be an OFW, just like an oncologist doesn't have to experience cancer to be able to know yung treatment. Yung experience ko po, even before I finished my college, I was lagi akong laman kalye. I was a street parliamentarian. I joined the mainstream movement doon sa extreme left for I think about 19 years. So in the rural areas, I experienced na I think early 70s pa lang po, nagpapadala na tayo ng OFW sa Middle East. I think that was about 1974. So karamihan po ng ating mga OFWs nanggaling din po sa agriculture sector. Yung mga hindi na lucrative yung farming, I mean for the longest time talagang hindi umaakyat ang income ng ating mga magsasaka. So they'd rather work in call centers or go abroad. Makipagsapalaran po yung ating mga nasa sektor. So na-experience po namin na sinabi nga ng ating kasama si Roy na sa stage pa lang ng recruitment, ma-experience mo na yung agony na dinadaanan ng mga recruits natin. Nagsasanla ng kalabaw, nagsasanla ng lupa, yung kanilang mga anak ay talagang ginagawang katulong lang, makahiram lang ng pera just to meet the requirements for deployment abroad. So yan po ang na-experience ko, and while I was in Malaysia, we were able to facilitate ni-raid po ng Malaysian authorities doon sa Petaling Jaya yung ating mga kababayan na I think at least about around 20 na nakakulong po sa isang bahay. They were promised good jobs, no? In fact, there were, I think, mga public school teachers na mga young teachers na pumunta po doon na tapos naging na under white slavery, nakakulong po sila. So na-raid po 'yon. So 'yun po ang experience ko sa plight ng ating mga OFWs. Now, in my work as a legislator, I was a representative of the agriculture, the farmers and the fisherfolk sector in Congress. I was able to file more than 300 bills and resolutions. And out of that, ang nagawa po ng batas as principal author, there are 40 laws. And one of them is extension of the passport from 5 years to 10 years. And related directly to agriculture, yung Free Irrigation Service Act, and the fisher folks and farmers and fisher folk entrepreneurial development program in agriculture, which is Sagip Saka right now. Now, ang dami pong mga batas po yan na may kaugnayan directly din po sa ating mga OFWs at ating mga magsasaka. In fact, yung marami din kaming authors doon po sa free quality tertiary education, including TESDA. Libre na po yan yung college education sa 114 state schools and universities, including TESDA. So libre po yung edukasyon sa ngayon. And part, I think, of yung aming programa sa reintegration are being funded out of this yung batas na ito, because free education including technical vocational schools. So sa tingin po namin, we are a go-to party list, with all due respect to Sir Roy, kasi po yung mga batas na ginawa namin sa Kongreso ay pinakikinabangan na po. That's why we don't have to promise them na itong gagawin namin, dahil ginawa na po namin. And we were out of Congress in starting 2019 to 2022. So I served in Congress in 2016 to 2019, but we still continue to assist our distressed OFWs. In fact, yesterday may mga tawag sa akin from my province, mga kaibigan ko abroad, to help this person and that, either it's a legal case or hindi makauwi kasi may sakit, especially right now doon dyan po sa Hong Kong. Yung mga nagkakasakit ng COVID sa atin, na ating mga kababayang OFWs ay pinapaalis sa kanilang employment, and some of them are sleeping literally in parks, no, na walang matulugan. So ito po, patuloy po yung aming trabahong protection ng general welfare at yung ating mga distressed OFWs. Tapos nakafocus na po kami sa reintegration. Kasi ito nang kailangan ang daming nawala ng trabaho. Now all government funds and wherewithal should go to dito sa employment strategy ng ating gobyerno. And now, in fact, at the end of the year, last year, napirmahan ni President Duterte yung Department of Migrant Workers. This is a welcome development sa ating OFWs. Ang ating mga manggagawa ay mayroong dole. Ang ating mga magsasaka, mangingisda, mayroong Department of Agriculture. And dapat mayroon tayong Department of Migrant Workers sa atin. Because, I mean, it's a disservice to our mga kababayang OFWs. They're contributing, at least last year, around $34 billion, including direct remittances yung mga dinadala nila personally pag uwi sa Pilipinas, saka po yung mga gamit na inuuwi nila in kind dito sa ating bansa. And they have kept our economy for so long. We were the sick man of Asia for decades. And what's kept us afloat is yung remittances ng ating mga sinasabi natin bagong bayani. So the
Alright.
best. Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Congressman Orestes. I know that you have a lot to discuss on about your future programs and projects that you want to develop within, as if you will be given seats within the Congress. But might as well, let's give also a chance for Mr. Roy Seneres from the OFW Party List to lay down if the OFW Family Party List is a go-to of the OFWs. Sir.
Thank you, Ma'am Agnes, Congressman Salon. As to the first question earlier, I would like to share with everyone that I am a proud son of a former OFW, or I'm a proud son of an OFW. My father served as an OFW for over 15 years. His job as an OFW is also to help fellow Filipinos in distress in his capacity as a labor attaché in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. A short tenure in Washington, D.C., also as labor attaché. Then back as ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary in United Arab Emirates. So going back to the first chapter of my father as an OFW, I would like to share, ma'am, that because of the nature and the dynamics of his job, as well as the circumstances surrounding the nature of his job, particularly in dealing with distressed and runaway domestic workers who were abused and maltreated by their employer. At the time, this was in the year 1988-89, there were no shelters in Abu Dhabi. So us as young children of an OFW, I was around 9 or 10 years old at the time, I saw firsthand how high impact the nature of my father's job was. Particularly in welcoming distressed OFWs in our small 3-bedroom flat, wherein 2 of the 3 bedrooms, excluding the master bedroom, were already provided for to accommodate the runaway domestic workers. I saw firsthand how physically, how graphic their situation were. They sustained injuries. They had black eye. They had burnt marks because of the hot iron that were pressed on their necks by their abusive employer. They came to our small flat, ringing the doorbell without anything, bringing with them nothing except just few pieces of clothing. And sometimes they were barefoot, and you can tell that they escaped their employer. That's why their feet sustained also abrasions and injuries. As a young child, this was very graphic, and this caused a lot of vivid and graphic memories or stains in our conscience. And seeing how my father dealt with it, talking to the police officers, bringing with him the translator, talking to judges in their salas, and effecting their repatriation. It was tough to see my father going through such an ordeal. I remember Senator Derlon, when he was then Secretary of Labor, he attested in the Senate and in the committee that the business model of the shelters now were due to the efforts of my father, who because of our small flat serving as a refuge or a pseudo embassy or so, the business model of the Polo was then established. So I am sharing this with everyone because as a son of a former OFW whose nature and the dynamics of the job, so to speak, were in such a way where we were so much in tune and actually slept alongside distressed OFWs. My mother had to lend them her sleeping clothes, yung kanyang mga duster. Naalala ko po minsan na ma'am and Congressman Salon, ma'am Imee, paggising ko po minsan sa kusina, naamoy ko yung nagluluto si mami, ay may nagluluto doon ng sinangag. Nagluluto doon, mahaba din yung buhok, tapos suot-suot yung pantulog ni mami. Sabi ko, ma, ano po ulam? Paglingon, yung ano pala, distress na runaway natin, nasuot-suot yung damit ni mami. So, in short, we saw firsthand how resourceful my parents had to be in order to really embrace our distressed OFW. So, this is one of the thrusts why the organization OFW Family Party List was established 20 years ago, or in 2001. Because of it now became a calling. So as to the question of if myself as the #1 nominee and head of this organization, what can I offer, or am I capable of catering or pushing forth the needed legislation should and when we get re-elected? I believe these experiences that I shared with you all, and my admiration for my father, who really was a nurturing father to us. It is one of the things that I promised to him and I committed to him before he passed away in 2016, that I will do everything I can to really just promote and hold, along with my siblings and chapter leaders and supporters, the banner of the OFW Family Club. And we are just thankful to be given a chance to once again represent our OFWs in Congress, and taking into account the track record, or the work that my father has set forth. We will be carrying that on, and we are proud to announce, or to share that we have our platform of government covering all 3 stages in the career of an OFW. When we speak of pre-employment stage, the issue of illegal recruitment and human trafficking is still very rampant, especially in the rural or far-flung areas where our women folk who are unable to read and write and are illiterate are prone to illegal recruitment at the hands of these abusive recruiters who are mainly fueled by foreign institutions, so that they can be deployed to different countries in the Middle East and treated as a commodity. This is a pressing issue that has to be given a lot of attention, not just in the local forum here in Congress, but as well as in international platforms and international offices by representations of our friends in the executive department. Speaking of which, that's why we are proud that we are one of the principal authors of the creation of the Department of Migrant Workers, where the new department now, we see this as a welcome thing, because the services, we expect it to be streamlined in terms of the services that our OFWs are expecting there in the host countries, or in the countries where they are working, because of the fact that certain agencies are now under this department. I am mentioning this, ma'am, because the other stage of our platform concerns the employment stage, where we seek, hopefully, Congressman Enriquez and Congressman Salon, we can sit together, because there's a lot of work to be done, to see to it that our distressed OFWs can be accorded and extended legal assistance from the onset. This is an ongoing struggle by our friends in the Philippine embassies and our other stakeholders in the foreign recruitment and Philippine recruitment agencies, that employers who do not cooperate at all causes a chain reaction, because the distressed OFWs are now forced to stay further at the shelters. And since more and more cases are being accumulated in the respective polos or consulates, and because of the fact that the lack of legal assistance and lack of manpower in the posts abroad, causes delay and causes the ballooning of the numbers of our distressed workers in said shelters needs attention by the legislature in terms of enacting the necessary measures to strengthen yung hanay po ng ating mga embahada at konsulado, particular na sa usaping legal assistance. And then also, I'm also answering, I guess, ma'am, the question of if we are the go-to party list. I would be very humble not to really claim that. Please forgive me because I fully respect Congressman Salon and Congresswoman Enriquez, and I want to really sit with them in Congress and learn a lot from Congressman Salon, possibly as a mentor, being that he already has a seasoned track record in Congress. So with as regards to reintegration and as well, marami rin po akong gusto matutunan kay Madam Imee kasi experience na po sila dyan. But I know one thing for sure, ito pong epekto ng pandemya ay ito po ay alarming, lalo na naapektuhan yung OFWs natin, at ito po ay nagpadala sa atin ng malakas na senyales. It sent us a strong signal that indeed yung reintegration po nating OFWs to provide them a secure employment and so on must be a top priority. That's why we are doing, our team are doing everything we can in revisiting our constitution so that we can immerse ourselves in the spirit of our ang ating saligang batas when we speak of full protection to labor. And one of this is also to deal with striking down or clamoring the setting aside of contractualization in furtherance of security of employment as part of our reintegration advocacies. So ito po yung mga, I hope nasagot ko po yung tanong na ano po ba ako, sino po ba ako, kung ako ay OFW, tayo po ba ay go-to, at ano po yung adhikain natin. So marami pa pong kailangan gawin. At maraming salamat po sa inyong tanong.
Marami pong salamat. Mga ka-TFWs, ang OFW Party List nga ba ang daan tungo sa mga kasagutan ng pag-ahon ng mga OFWs na patuloy lumalaban sa mga pang-aapi o kaya pagmamaltrato ng kanilang amo sa aming pagbabalik? At ating alamin ano ang mga programa ng ACTS OFW Party List at OFW Family Club Party List para sa mga OFWs kung sakaling makakuha sila ng upuan sa Kongreso. We will be right back with Mr. Nas Mariwa Berganio.
Every day, the Philippines does more than wait. Putting together new adventures. And experiences for you to try. We're making our sites better for you to see. Cooking up new dishes for you to taste. Preparing cultural discoveries for you to feel. And we're not stopping. Because we know that you deserve more. We can't wait to welcome you.
Welcome back to the Filipinos World. Still with us are the representatives of ACTS OFW Party List. We have Congressman Imee Enriquez and Congressman Orestes Salon and Ambassador Roy Seneres of OFW Family Club Party List. Before we go back to the next segment, representatives. I just wanted to go back and ask this question to Congressman Orestes Salon. For the benefit lang po, sir, ng ating mga manonood at tagapakinig, can you please explain further what's happening about yung sa reintegration process na ginagawa ng gobyerno? And do you think the reintegration is a holistic approach towards solving the problems of our OFW being repatriated, being displaced from the pandemic?
Oh yes, maraming salamat, Nash. Yung reintegration program natin should not be taken exclusively. It should be part of a bigger strategy, to provide employment. Unang-una, dapat i-strengthen ng gobyerno natin yung local employment mismo, so that we will not need anymore the reintegration because of we provided employment abroad. Kaya lang dahil sa pandemic nga, ang daming nawala ng trabaho, in place na po yung reintegration na yan. In fact, agencies of government like TESDA, like Department of Agriculture, DOST, DTI, they're all geared towards providing reskilling, retooling of our OFWs na mukhang halimbawa nagsara yung industriya ng yung mga hotel, tourism abroad. Yung mga kababayan natin ng mga employed doon, pagbalik dito, sarado rin yung mga hotels natin. Yung mga go-to resorts natin, sarado rin. So ano pong gagawin ng ating mga displaced na mga OFWs on top of the local unemployment sa ating bansa, which is at least 4,000 of our labor force na walang din ng trabaho. So, yung mga madali po na mga training components like yung mga based on mga cottage industries, food processing, welding, saka yung mga alam mo na uso yung mga bentahan lang by yung mga nagdi-deliver lang online, mga ganyan. And TESDA and all the other agencies are more or less able to provide yung mga training na to. In TESDA alone, I think there are at least additional 300 courses being offered, and kami po sa AXA OFW is able to facilitate po kasi may mga community organizations kami ng mga OFWs, and we encourage them to link up with the LGUs, with the barangay captains, and make resolutions, requests for training components, for training na ginagawa na mismo sa community. And one example of this is doon sa bayan ko mismo, sa Buhi, Camarines Sur. Nag-conduct po ng training doon sa barangay namin, nagpadala ng trainers, resource person yung TESDA, ginawa mismo doon sa barangay hall. So I think it took them around 4 or 5 days. Then after that, food processing po yun, and they were given kits po, yung mga initial materials para po makagawa sila ng food processing. So ganyan po, immediately kasi aside from the dole out, kasi kailangan naman talaga yan, madaming nawala ng trabaho, hindi makalabas ng bahay, bigyan mo talaga ng mga food rations. So habang nag-open up yung economy, we should prepare this yung ating mga unemployed na mabigyan ng trabaho. And through this reintegration, kaya KKK po kami, bibigyan mo ng kaalaman, bigyan mo ng kakayahan, yung skills. And eventually, because of the mga kits na po yan, mayroon ng kaagad silang pag-uumpisan. But, I mean, the more scaled up, we have a member na we were able to assist 2 years ago or 3 years ago. He is an OFW for 19 years. He's been to Middle East, he's been to Africa and Russia, and he came back, anak po siya ng magsasaka. In fact, he is our third nominee, si Engineer Aldrin Cardenas, na-assist po ng ating AXA OFW. Pagkatapos, he was able to access a credit facility from the Department of Agriculture, which is part of yung RCEP. RCEP, yung Rice Tariffication yung batas natin na kung saan they set aside 10 billion every year mula for 6 years po yan, ano? Para magamit po sa training, research and development, tapos access to credit ng ating mga magsasaka. So yung kasamahan po namin, no, was able to get a 25 million loan, 0% interest, payable in 5 years. Nabigyan po siya ng farm animals, mga kambing po ito. At least 100 from Bureau of Animal Industry, ng mga kambing at least worth I think is 80,000 pesos each from New Zealand po ito. Nagpo-produce po siya ng cheese. Yung aming mga lumaki yung organization dahil na-organize siya ng isang kooperatiba at dumami ng dumami, composed of OFWs and families of OFWs. Yung dati kung yung income nila per month is 10,000, ngayon po umaabot na po from 17 to 18,000 per week. Kasi po yung mga kambing nila ay nagagatasan po ng 3 kilos or 3 liters of milk every day bawat goat po. At through DOST, again, in coordination with agencies of government that provide technology, gumawa po sila ng cheese. So, ganyan po kaya lumaki yung income nila. And isa po itong OFW na talagang it's working. No, yung mga ginagawa natin, yung mga strategy ng gobyerno to give employment sa ating mga, lalo na yung mga OFW, saka yung mga ibang distressed workers. And in fact, locally. So, ito po yung mga programa ng gobyerno na we should support at dinadala po namin yan as part of our reintegration process. But of course, tuloy-tuloy pa rin po kasi ang daming, lalo ngayon, may giyera na naman po sa Ukraine. So we continue to assist yung ating mga distressed OFWs. And I'm sure, pati si kasamang Roy, ay ganyan din po yung orientation. And we're happy na sana mas maraming makapasok sa Kongreso to represent yung OFW. Hindi lang po kami because one party list is limited only at most to 3 nominees na pwedeng makapasok. We need more because by sheer number, our migrant workers is at least worldwide, if I am not mistaken, at least 10 million po yan. At yung malaking service sa ating pamahalaan.
Tama po. Right, tama po. So in other words, Congressman, all of these different national agencies that you mentioned, whenever there's a repatriated OFW, pwede silang lumapit. Pwede silang lumapit, humingi ng tulong.
Opo, tama po yan. And yung mga party list like us, saka yung ibang mga, they represent the marginalized sector, they can actually, di ba, yung kaya ang sinasabing go-to puntahan. Kung wala pa silang programa, they can probably develop their own program. At sa tingin ko rin, sa amin kasi sa AXO OFW, ito yung sinasabi ko, whether yung AXO, yung OFW, party list groups are, you know, saving grace ba sila sa ating sa Filipino, mga Filipinos, mga Filipino migrant workers natin. Ito na nga sinasabi ko, we should have a clear and comprehensive grasp of what's happening in our country. Hindi lang po with respect to OFW. Kasi yung nga sinasabi ko, you cannot take that as mutually exclusive of itself. No? It should be integrated with the all other programs of government. Yung nga ang sinasabi ko, let's create yung employment locally dito sa atin. And that's why my expertise, I think, sa tingin ko kailangan na hindi lamang ako, kundi lahat ng advocates for developing our agriculture. We are basically an agricultural country. Karamihan ng OFWs natin ay nasahanay din po ng agrikultura o either anak o kamag-anak po. Yung kanilang mga ninunupa ay talagang nasa sektor ng agrikultura. Let's attack because poverty incidence in the farming sector is higher than the average Filipino poverty incidence. 26% ang average Filipinos natin. This was a 2017 data. I hope bumaba na po yung poverty incidence sa ating the average Filipino. But it's higher sa sektor ng ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda. So let's attack the problem there, provide employment para hindi na po tayo nagpapadala abroad as a matter of employment strategy. I hope this is not going to, to be the main strategy of our government. Ang sabi nga natin, temporary lang ito, stopgap. So, kabit-kabit na po kasi yung issue dito. So, let's attack the problem there. Let's revive agriculture. Hopefully, yung ating bumabalik na mga OFWs, let's encourage them to go back to agriculture. Because a strong agriculture, mababawasan ng ating mga mahihirap na magsasaka. So, mababawasan din ang budget natin for peace and order kasi yung mga rebelde nanggaling din po dyan. Pag mahihirap, you cannot blame them. Di ba? And we don't have to deploy as a matter of strategy, but we cannot really stop migrating Filipinos kasi talagang na sa Constitution is guaranteed that if you want to work abroad, hindi po yung napipilitan tayo because of our economic circumstances. Mag-abroad po tayo dahil gusto natin, we migrate as a family for greener pastures. Yung freedom, maaliwalas, hindi napipilitan tayo that you are forced to, i-collateralize niyo yung iyong paari-arian para lang, makagastos ka, magastos doon sa pag-alis mo. So, opo.
Yeah, thank you, Cong Orestes. Now let me go to another issue that concerns our OFW kababayan. No, I think let's have Ambassador Roy answer this. How will you help eliminate or lessen the issue on maltreatment of employers or physical abuses of OFW in the Middle East? For example, in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, where these issues are prominent and mostly felt and experienced by household service workers.
It's a tough job. It's a tough task. It's a very it's a tall order. It's very heavy. It's a heavy responsibility, not just for us lawmakers or representatives, but also in our fellow public servants in the executive and the judiciary, as well as the stakeholders. This is worldwide because the maltreatment of our OFWs stems from cultural roots already in the Middle Eastern countries that we have to move heaven and earth in order to penetrate their conscience. But insofar as the Philippines is concerned, particularly in the House of Representatives, the creation of the Department for Migrant Workers is a welcome step. It's actually a big step. We credit the President, Rodrigo Duterte, for clamoring this during the start of his campaign or before his campaign and when he won the presidency, and with the support of the lawmakers, the OFW Family Party List included, the creation of the department finally came into fruition and now became law. Now, why do I say this? Because the creation of the department, particularly if we follow the tone of the president, seeks to send a resounding signal to international communities that we wish to promote and clamor the dignity of our workers and not necessarily institutionalizing deployment. The dignity of our workers is one which has to be in the forefront why this department was created. Now, the creation of this department streamlines the services of the government because the other agencies such as the POAA, the OWA, and the ILAB and the other agencies vital to the promotion of the protection and welfare of OFWs are now under one roof. And what comes along with this piece of legislation is the creation of a new budget to fund these offices accordingly. And this is now a job for us in the Congress to see to it that we look at the would-be department secretary, soon to be appointed or so, whenever that may be, as well as in the creation of the implementing rules and regulation, that indeed the very purpose of this department must be really felt by our workers. Example, when we speak of pre-employment stage, I would like to mention this before we jump into the thrust of maltreatment and abuse during the course of the employment. The pre-employment stage starts with the recruitment of workers, most of whom were recruited in a questionable manner or procedure. The POA regional offices and the OWA regional offices under the new department can now, we will suggest, Congressman Salon and Congresswoman Imee, we will suggest to the executive that they streamline these regional offices so that it can also give focus to strengthen the campaign against illegal recruitment and human trafficking, so that we will see to it that the POA approved contracts are indeed POA approved and valid contracts. And once they reach their countries of assignment or job, as the case may be, the fact that the OMWA and the polo offices are now under the department, this is a welcome thing for us, because polo before under the DOLO did not have the legal assistance fund or did not enjoy that. It was under the tutelage and administration of the overseas and the Office of the Undersecretary for Migrant Workers Affairs under the DFA or the OMWA. That's why when the polo exercises or exhausts its administrative functions by canceling the license of FRAs or foreign recruitment agencies and Philippine recruitment agencies, as the case may be, but the employer still is not cooperating or so, notwithstanding the administrative sanctions set forth. Yung kawawa dito, the one that feels the brunt of the burden is still the OFW worker, because she is now stranded at the shelter waiting because now the case is now converted into a police case or a legal case, where it is now endorsed to the assistance to nationals under the OMWA before. Now that it is under the new department, the legal assistance now we see, because we, as after creating this legislation, we see now that both the polo offices and the OMWA under this new department will now be appropriated and given the necessary budget for legal assistance, and we expect OFWs. That, Sir Nas, we see maybe not immediately in the next 1 year or so, but maybe down the line, this will be a good thing, because it will expedite the repatriation of our workers if we see more legal cases being filed before foreign tribunals to put pressure to employers to cooperate. After all, the assessment and the conferences conducted and held by the polo offices already, it includes there the verification where there was if there is a breach of contract or who breached the contract. So because the PRAs are also invited there to verify the veracity or check the veracity of the complaints. So if we put pressure on them through legal assistance, and the national government under this new department is now putting the necessary funding and support, where we are now able to hire more legal retainers, then down the line we expect a more expeditious resolution of cases by putting more pressure on the abusive and erring employers in that regard. So I think it will declug. It may be not immediately, but it will be there down the line. We will feel that because of the more streamlined approach by virtue of the department. Immediately, I also see another way of lessening the maltreatment and abuse. Take note that the ILAB, the International Labor Affairs Bureau, is now under the Department of Migrant Workers as well. And the job of the ILAB is to look at the international labor laws and gather the information and the data from international labor laws regarding how it affects other expatriates, and then report it to the Secretary of Labor for purposes of keeping abreast the Secretary of Labor now the Department of Migrant Workers Secretary, or the would-be. I think this is an opportunity, given a chance, Congresswoman Enriquez, and I will invite also Congressman Salon, that we should impress upon the department, the new department, the importance of the role of the ILAB under the new department, that it should make routine representations to international tribunals and international conventions, bringing with them the report inventoried by DIPOLO as regards to the distress OFW cases, particularly those that were not settled, so that we can bring this to the international spectrum to the effect that these things are violative of international norms. After all, that's why yung ILAB, International Labor Bureau yan, Affairs Bureau. So ito yung oportunidad para sa new department para ipaabot yan, so that we can bring to the attention of the international labor organizations and other like organizations that there are nabablanket lang di umano, pero talamak pa rin po yung cases ng distress abuse cases ng ating mga women folk, and we need help na matingnan ito kasi there may be a possible breach of international norms that would then put pressure as well, aside from the legal assistance that we will be making more potent in the host countries. We now have the help of the international labor organizations and other like bodies to put pressure on these countries in such a way na sandali lang, bakit may mga nagsusumbong dito ang Philippines na mayroong mga ganitong kaso at talamak pa rin ang abuse cases, hindi ba ito possible breach? We will make an advisory in that regard. Kaya ito po yung mga bagay, as voices or representatives of OFWs and Congress, that we will be able to actually express or voice out there in the plenary or in the committee hearings, should and when we get a chance to represent our OFWs, as in our powers or in our authority to enact measures in aid of legislation, as well as to supervise the execution of these laws by the executive. So ito po yung mga bagay na pwede natin busisiin in line with the structure of the new department, para ang agenda po dyan is to ensure na yung abuse cases, long and short term, short and long term, ay mabigyan po ito na matuunan po ito ng pansin in every which way we can. So yun po sana ang aking nakikita amongst other things na ilalaan din po natin sa pamamagitan ng mga panukala na ating na-prepare.
Thank you, Ambassador. Now let's hear from Congressman Imee Enriquez as to what are their plans in helping eliminate or lessen the maltreatment cases or physical abuses.
Lahat po ng mga sinabi ni Congressman Roy ay tama po 'yon, dahil po we have to make, we can have because we have a new house for the OFWs, then we can structure it according to our current needs po. So however po, para sa akin po, isa din po nating we have to revisit, we have to equip before we deploy our HSW, because I think we are this concerns more with our HSWs po, yung mga maltreatments. So we have to equip them. Kasi po hindi naman po talaga natin maipagkaila na wala po talagang trabaho sa Pilipinas para sa mga ating mga kababaihan po. Very few. So the reason na sila po ay mangingibang bansa. Since andyan tayo sa ngayon, talagang i-equip natin sila through training. We have to prepare them more. Katulad po sa yung mga Indonesians po, di ba, they stopped deploying HSW in the Middle East, but they only got the model from us, pero they really equip their workers po para mawala po yung mga we cannot say that it will be talaga mawala talaga siya totally. Meron pa rin ilan because of so many reasons also. Pero at least ma-way out natin pa konti-konti, magiging konti na lang po yan. Equip our workers, train them well, kasi po minsan din po kaya nagsisimula po yung abuse because minsan ang mga pinapadala po natin ay hindi po sila equipped. They are clueless to what is the job really is. So doon po talaga nagsisimula yung mga problema din po. Tapos po, yung isa pa po dyan is yung bilateral agreement natin. We have to revisit it. Then we have to strengthen it. And we will not deploy workers to the countries that don't have bilateral agreements, because in the bilateral agreements we can always include it, strengthen it, and add more. Kasi based on our experience, we've been in this migration business for so many years. So this is now high time for us to really change, what is, kung ano yung nakasanayan natin sa ngayon. Maybe this is no longer, hindi na po siya akma sa panahon ngayon. So babaguhin po natin yun. Marami po tayong magagawa doon sa ating bagong departamento. Talagang totoo po, we are so blessed to have it now. Then we can put all the new things in it, not the old things. We have to tanggalin po natin yung mga hindi tama, then i-equip natin. And then pagdating din po, katama po si Congressman Roy, strengthen po talaga natin yung tribunal, natin, yung mga lawsuit. Kasi po wala pong nagre-represent talaga sa ating mga OFW. Sasabihin na lang ng ating mga government representative overseas na, ay, umuwi ka na lang, doon ka na lang magreklamo sa Pilipinas. So how can you persecute, yung totoong nagkasala kung palagi na lang ganun? So, and then, closing the recruitment agency, banning the deployment is not the solution. Talaga pong dapat talaga, we have to face the problem. Kasi para sa akin po, hindi lang naman po dahil dito sa gobyerno or saan man. Yung totoong buhay po, even on ourselves, like, if we will never face our problem and accept our problem, we cannot solve it. The moment that you accept your problem, the moment that you know that there's something wrong with it, then that is yun na po yung change, doon na po magsimula. Hanggat hindi po natin aaminin, patuloy po tayong blinded na we are always saying that, oh, we are sought out, Filipinos are sought out all over the world, Of course we are, but, time has changed a lot. So we have also to change. So marami po tayong, this is a very long battle, this is a very long journey pa rin po. Pero tama din po na hindi po kasya sa 12 million po na OFWs all over the world, or 10 million dahil nakugi na yung iba, kulang po ang isang representante lang po sa ng OFW sa Kongreso po. Mas the more the better po, we can work hand in hand so that we can craft new laws, new ideas, and marami pa po talagang sobrang marami po tayong babaguhin, nakakabuti po talaga sa ating manggagawa. So number one po yan, in my perspective, is really to train yung ating mga manggagawang pinapadala sa ibang bansa. We have to make a world, a world class, kung yun na po talaga, kung domestic helper, then we must be different in that area so that we can really, we can minimize po yung abuse. Kasi pag po maayos naman po talaga yung training, so of course hindi mag-iinit ang ulo ng ating mga employer. Kasi po even in our own experience sa ating bahay, pag manunod tayong kasambahay, pagkagising sa umaga, nakatunga nga, walang ginagawa, di po ba nakakainit pag palagi na lang nangyayari. So we have to look at that area po. Hindi po natin minsan mabiblame yung ating mga sponsors, pero po talagang ang gagawin po natin talaga, like talagang paigtingin po natin talaga yung training pa ng ating mga HSW before sending them abroad. Not just HSW but also the skilled workers. Yan po, at saka yung bilateral agreement po natin. At yung iba pa po, yung magdagdag talaga tayo ng maraming mga lawyers na marunong po yung Sharia law, especially in the Middle East countries po. Para po in that way, matutulungan po ang ating maraming kababayan na naghihirap. And also po, maraming aspeto po talaga, kasi as we go along with this migration phenomenon po, we learn so much. We learn so many things. We can add, we can lesson po. So dito po nating tututukan po sa mga darating na araw kung tayo po ay pagbigyan po ng pagkakataon ng Panginoon na makapaglingkod po sa ating mga OFWs.
Tama po. Thank you, Ma'am Imee. Tama. I totally agree with you. It all boils down to education, from knowing their rights and knowing what they're getting into. So, Ma'am Agnes, do you have questions for them?
Well, maraming salamat, Nas, no, napaka ano ba to, deep and integrated for what the OFW Party List and OFW Family Party List had indulged to our OFWs. But might as well, since we had discussed further on the newly created Department of Migrant Workers, maybe the two party lists can be able to share their views in this. I understand that this newly created Department of Migrant Workers will have to start the operations by 2023, as advised by the Philippine Overseas Employment Administration. There will be a transition period of 2 years for the agencies in the newly created department and a transition committee to be formed to craft the implementing rules and regulations of the department, including the organizational structure, staffing pattern, including budget proposal for 2023. I'm going to ask you this. Do you think the creation of the Department of Migrant Workers will expand assistance and expedite delivery of services and unite all agencies involved and inter-agencies for the protection and welfare of the OFWs? Why or why not? I'll give 5 minutes for the OFW and 5 minutes for the OFW family. Ma'am Imee, can you do the favor, please, to answer that question?
Yes po, dito po sa bagong departamento po natin, ito po yung, kinuha po natin yung model na one-stop shop, na nandito na po lahat, na pinagsama-sama po dito po yung mga lahat ng mga government offices na pertaining po sa alis po ng mga manggagawa. So, dito sa, what's this, yung shared information system? Yung shared information system kasi dito, sa ano na to, dito na po ma-reinvent na po lahat, pati yung reintegration, training, lahat-lahat na po ng bagay na nakakabuti po talaga sa ating manggagawa pag-uwi, pag-alis, pag-uwi, pagbalik, at pagsimula ng bagong buhay dito sa Pilipinas. So, dito po natin paigtingin pa po yung, kasi yung pag meron tayong shared government information system, we will know ilan na po ang data, ilan po ang datos na dumating sa Pilipinas, yung mga datos na dumating sa Pilipinas, aalamin natin kung ano-ano po yung pwede nating magawa pa po sa kanilang current situation, kung sila po ba ay may trabaho na, anong field, saan na tayo makakatulong, kung anong sector po na pwede nating gampanan. So, tapos po yung yung mga sa ating mga DOH or yung ating, kasi po di ba ngayon lahat po ng umaalis kailangan talagang mag-swab test. So talagang minsan ang haba ng pila, tapos mag-establish tayo ng maraming clinics or diagnostic clinics to do that, and talagang i-equip din natin yung iba't ibang regions natin na magkaroon din po ng sariling mga accredited clinics po. So ako po, yan lang po ang aking yung aking so kay Kong Salon siguro baka may maidagdag pa po siya.
Yeah, please sir.
Po, sa akin po yung creation ng ating Department of Migrant Workers, we will align the budgets, no, and we will streamline also yung mga iba-ibang agencies, no, that have to do with OFWs, no, from nabanggit ni Congressman Roy, no, from pre-employment, employment hanggang reintegration. But I'd like to focus yung dapat sa tingin ko ay additional o kailangan may integrate ito sa batas na bagong batas na ito, no? And I think we need a developmental program for the families of OFWs. Alam natin, nakafocus tayo doon sa employee, no? Pag-alis. What about the families left behind, no? Yung mga collateral damage mga social social damage na nangyayari sa ating lipunan, sa pamilya mismo. Yung mga anak, di ba, napapariwara, nagiging drug addict, napapabayaan kasi wala na talagang wala talagang nandun yung nanay or tatay ay wala eh. So dapat developmental yung approach natin. Anong gagawin natin sa pamilya ng mga OFWs? Definitely because pag may mga social cost yan, cost din po yan sa gobyerno, di ba? So para maibsan po yan, pangalawa doon sa pre-employment pa lang, we should institutionalize yung fair and ethical recruitment. Dito na yung sana maiwasan na yung mabawasan yung ating mga distress ng mga OFWs natin. Yung sinasabi kong mas streamline yung from experience sa akin, minsan nalilito ako, saan ko ba pag may sa akin, may nagtumawag, ano yan, kaso ba yan? Pag kaso, ibang agency pupuntahan mo, Halimbawa, if it's a case of yung mga benefits, saan ka pupunta? Sa OWA, di ba? Tapos POEAs, mga recruitment agencies yan na kung illegal illegally recruited siya, Pag may mga legal cases naman sa DFA, parang pinipingpong ba yung yung ating OFW? Well, na kung saan kung nandiyan na yung yung isang departamento, doon ka na lang pupunta, di ba? And alam na ang ita-traffic mo. So again, ito po yung sa tingin ko na doon sa implementing rules and guidelines, or in fact para ma-strengthen natin yung institutionalization of fair and ethical recruitment. Kasi minsan may mga recruitment agencies na foreign, tapos may mga damis lang sa Pilipinas. There definitely will be conflict of interest, Saka dito nangyayari yung mga sila na mismo ang papupuntahin ka sa mga yung mga check-ups, medical check-ups para po mangyari yan. So
maraming pong salamat. Before siguro sumagot si Sir Roy Seneres ng OFW Family Party List, I would just like to kind of like a bit advanced because of our time, there will be one last two questions for the three of you, and then we move forward with the question that may entail for our voters to decide should have been the ex-OFW and OFW Family Party List be given a seat in Congress. All right, Sir Roy, your answer, please.
I think, ma'am, yung question po is ano pa po yung welcome po ba yung Department of Migrant Workers, I believe, Tama po ba? Yun yung question.
Do you think creation of Department of Migrant Workers will expand existence and expedite delivery of services
Yes.
for the protection and promotion of the OFWs?
I believe so. Kasi po, meron po tayo dyan sa Migrant Workers Act, Republic Act 8042, amended by 10.0022, yung tinatawag po na one country team approach. Sa makatuwid, ang rationale po ng stipulation ng batas po na yan ay lahat po ng mga orchestration at mga serbisyo na kailangan po ipaabot sa ating mga OFWs doon sa abroad ay nasa ilalim ng leadership or orchestration ng head of mission or head of post in the person of the ambassador. Ngayon po, yung one country team approach po na yan, ibig sabihin po niyan, pati po yung mga labor attachés natin at yung mga social attachés po natin sa DSWD and so on, they have to submit to the instructions and the command of our ambassadors as head of mission. Minsan po, in terms of policy and in terms of reporting, meron po mahirap po yan, nagkakaroon po ng waiting yan or bottleneck yan kasi may mga bagay po na kailangan pa pong i-report ng mga polo offices sa kanilang mother department, which was Department of Labor at the time. So with the creation of the Department of OFWs, nabanggit nga po ng mga kasama po natin, Congressman Salon, Congresswoman Enriquez, na streamline po, yun yung keyword natin, streamline. So mabibigyan buhay na po yung relasyon ng Migrant Workers Act dyan sa one country team approach na kailangan po gampanan ng ating head of mission or ambassador. Kasi po ngayon yung mga ahensya po na dating nasa iba't ibang mga may iba't ibang mga principal o mother departments, DFA and DOLE as particularly is now under the Department of Migrant Workers. Kaya kapag sinabi po ng head of mission doon na ito ang gagawin natin, ito yung direction, dito tayo pupunta. Hindi tayo sa kaliwa, kundi sa kanan o diretso tayo. Ito yung aking instruction sa inyo. Lahat po sila ay yes sir. Hindi na po sila magkakamot o mag-hesitate kasi kailangan pa i-report yan sa kanilang mga respective bosses in the heads of departments. So I think in terms of expediting and making more expedient the services to our OFWs, I think once na fully operational na po itong Department of Migrant Workers, mafe-feel po talaga yan. Meron na po magiging synergy or cohesiveness dyan po sa mga embahada natin for the simple fact na yung dalawang crucial na opisina, which is the OMWA and the POLO, are now working together at hindi na nag-aantayan at hindi na sila nagtataka kung ano na yung order ng kanilang mga bosses kasi ngayon isa na lang ang boss nila, which is the secretary of the department. So yun po yung nakikita ko para komprehensibong sumisid doon sa konsepto ng pagiging streamline. So ito po yung mararamdaman po ng ating mga workers, yung mabilis na aksyon sa ganitong paraan at sa ganito pong infrastructure or kabuuan ng department. So this is a welcome thing. So we are looking forward to seeing kung paano po papatakbuhin ito ng magiging head of the department.
Maraming salamat, Sir Roy. Okay, because we wanted to end sana by 5:30 p.m. Because you might be having other engagements too. This is my last question, and I hope you're gonna be thinking of this thoroughly. It's kind of like a bit of a challenging one, and my question is, why would the OFW Party List should have presence in Congress when the newly created department will be in existence for the promotion and welfare of the OFWs? First to answer, Congressman Orestes, then to be followed by Ms. Imee, and of course, Sir Roy Seneres, please.
Opo, kailangan pa rin po yung party list ng mga OFWs dahil yung ating batas po na na-create po, creating the Department of Migrant Workers, is in the executive branch. They are going to implement the laws that have been made even after the implementing rules and guidelines. So kailangan din po ng advocacy kasi nag-evolve po, no? Especially during the pandemic. How do we respond? In terms of minsan yung host countries na inaano natin, na pinupuntahan nating mga migrant workers, nag-iiba rin yung kanilang health protocols, no? And that affects a lot of it has a lot of impact sa ating mga OFWs. So kailangan yan because in fact, I would welcome more OFW party list kasi representing 10 to 11 million migrant workers. I think that's just enough. No, we need to craft more laws for the development in the industry, and sana rin yung magkaroon ng isang coalition hindi lamang po among party list groups but sa mga party list representatives also to strengthen and to have more voice. No, para we speak as one. Ngayon lang nagkataon lang na eleksyon. And there are limitations based on the number of representatives per party list. Sana po magsama-sama tayo sa Kongreso at para tuloy-tuloy po ang ating pagtatanggol sa ating mga marginalized OFWs.
Maraming salamat. Ms. Imee, please.
Yes po. Para sa akin din po, kailangan pa rin po talaga na magkaroon ng representasyon ang mga OFW sa Congress kasi po, iba po ang functions nila, iba ang trabaho po ng Department of OFW at iba po ang Department of Migrant Workers, Department of Migrant Workers sa mga representante po ng Congress po. Sila po, ang nasa Congress po, ay mag-strengthen po ng mga batas na patuloy para ma-adapt po sa executive po. Tapos, at sa sobrang dami po talaga, pag pag-akuhin na yan ng isang kasi because of meron na pong department, kaya ano na po yung hindi na kailangan ng mga representative ang marginalized sector. So, mababawasan po, hindi na po masyado mapagtuunan talaga yung totoong concern po ng mga OFWs kasi po check and balance po yan palagi po.
Salamat. And Sir Roy?
Yes, notwithstanding the creation of the Department of Migrant Workers, we do see na there are still warrants the the pushing of DNID legislation. For example, sa pre-employment stage po, pagdating po sa kampanya natin against illegal recruitment and human trafficking, ang POA po ngayon, take note that the department ay inattach lamang po ito or nilagay sa ilalim ng Department of Migrant Workers, pero meron pa rin po tayo nakikita na mga reforma na kinakailangan diyan sa loob ng POA mismo, particularly para palakasin pa at palawakin yung kampanya laban sa illegal recruitment. For example, meron po diyang stipulation ng batas na nagsasabi na yung mga biktima po ng illegal recruitment ay bibigyan po ng abogado ng POA. But under the kailangan po natin to i-relate sa ating judicial branch of government na sila po ang nagpo-promulgate ng mga rules sa procedure, at ngayon po ang pinaka-latest na rule po diyan ang ating the Office of the Prosecutor and the regional state or state prosecutors and city prosecutors are tasks under the existing rules to determine probable cause. So yung mga criminal cases for illegal recruitment ay babaksak pa rin po sa kanila, notwithstanding the fact na nandyan po yung POA. That's why there may be a law needed that we, all of us here present, should push to reinforce and to make stronger yung regional offices ng department, particularly yung existing na POA and OWA, so that we can assist the national government in facilitating cases and prosecuting rather, with the end view of prosecuting cases of illegal recruitment and human trafficking. Ganon din po in relation sa sangay ng Department of Justice where the prosecutors are employed. Kailangan din po yung bigyan ng tutok at nakikita po natin na kinakailangan ng mga panukala para palakasin po yung sangay nila para po ma-entertain ito at ang purpose po niyan is matuloy yung prosecution. Pagdating naman po sa employment, notwithstanding the Department of Migrant Workers, we still see the need na mabigyan po ng diin yung role ng ating head of missions to act as the surrogate parents or fathers or mothers of OFWs para po maramdaman talaga yung pinakamandato nila na assistance to nationals as highest priority, particularly visiting hospitals, requiring them to visit deportation centers, to attend court hearings in foreign tribunals, particularly pag malaki po yung kaso affecting a large number of OFWs and so on, para po maramdaman po nila so that we will be able to send a stronger signal to the host countries that we are serious in our mandate to protect our workers, and the Department of Migrant Workers is just the anchor or the pillar of that. Pagdating naman po sa reintegration, we still see the need, and it is still imperative for us to push additional measures to introduce reforms under for example, the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration. Alam naman po natin na kailangan po palawakan yung mga programang pangkapakanan o welfare, lalo na po yung nais na mag-for good. Gusto po natin i-expand yan at palawakin po, nabanggit po ni Congressman Salon, yung reintegration. So yung OWA po, which is an attached agency under the department, may kakailanganin pa rin po ng mga reforma dyan sa institution or sa sangay ng OWA mismo para palawakin at palakasin pa yung aspeto ng reintegration tsaka welfare benefits and programs para sa ating
OFWs. All right. Maraming salamat. Thank you for sharing your views and opinions on today's episode. I would like you to have a 1-minute campaign for our OFWs to decide to vote for the party list. Let's start from Attorney Roy. 1 minute, please.
Tayo po ay proud po. Una sa lahat, salamat po Ma'am Agnes, Sir Nas, Honorable Congressman Salon, and our dear friend Ms. Enriquez, and of course Congressman John Bertiz, OFW. Thank you for also, it's a pleasure being with you. And para po sa ating mga OFWs, proud po tayo ibahagi sa inyo yung track record ng OFW Family Party List. 20 years na po tayo na naglilingkod through rain or shine sa abot ng ating makakaya. At dala-dala po natin yung sinumulan na advokasya ng ating founder, Ambassador Roy Seneres, at yung kanya pong iniwan na goodwill sa sektor ng OFWs. As his son and namesake, Roy Seneres Jr., it is a lot of pressure on me being the son of an OFW, but we are happy na yung tiwala na pinaabot sa atin at itutuloy po natin yan sa abot nating makakaya. That's why we are seeking re-election, and we are again proud of our track record at gagawin po natin lahat para sa ikabubuti ng ating sektor. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat. Congressman Orestes, please.
Maraming salamat sa pagkakataong ito. Maraming salamat Ma'am Agnes, Sir Nas, Congressman Roy, ang kasama kong Ma'am Imee. Maraming salamat sa ating mga OFWs. Number 97 po sa balota. Hindi po nangako dahil yung mga ginawa naming batas ni Congressman John Bertis, the chairman of our ACTS OFW, he was my seatmate literally in the plenary. He made 48 laws. Principal author po siya. Ako po ay representing the agriculture sector, also made 40 laws that have to do with ang kabutihan po ng ating OFWs at hindi lamang po yan ang ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda. Maraming salamat po sa ating mga kasama dito, sa ating mga kababayang OFW. Mabuhay po kayo, and to God be all the glory and praise.
And thank you. Miss Imee, please.
Yes, ACTS OFW Party List 97 sa balota po kasi po. Noon pa man, hindi bago pa po nakaupo ang ACTS OFW, tayo po ay tumutulong na po. Nung nagbigyan ng pagkakataon, mas lumawak ang pagtulong. Noong 2019, hindi po tayo nabigyan ng pagkakataon, pero patuloy pa rin tayong tumutulong. Kaya po, mas marami pa po tayong matulungan kung po tayo po ay iluklok ulit at iboto po. Sa katulad ng sinabi ni Cong Salon, ACTS OFW was able to make to file almost 200 bills during the 3 years time, the 3 years term, 48 of which was being signed by the President, and si Congressman Salon was able to make 48 signed by the President also. That's total of 90 bills. So meron pong marami pong beneficiaries na tupad, marami pong natulungan yung mga OFWs for repatriation. Tapos marami po tayong medical assistance and mga scholar po ng bayan nakagawa ng paraan para magkaroon po ng 2,000 slots a day for OFW for passporting. Kasi alam po natin sobrang mahirap magpa-passport po. Ang pila, ang haba po talaga. 3 to 6 months po bago makakuha ng slot. So dahil po sa atin po, nagkaroon po ng sariling portal lang OFW dahil sa ACTS OFW. Yan po ay iilan lang po sa marami pa po nating programang yung marami nating mga batas at programang gagawin po para sa mga ating OFW and the families po. Maraming salamat. Huwag kalimutan, ACTS OFW Party List 97 sa balota, at sana po we are also welcome to na marami po sana mga OFW Family Party List na ating iboboto para po mas marami pong matulungan po. Pagkapit busy po tayo, sama-sama together, we can do and we can soar higher and go farther po.
Marami pong salamat. Shout out kay Miss Mary Ann Madriaga, continuously watching with us until now, and Mr. Ruel Yumol, also from the ACTS OFW Party is watching. And to all the viewers live streaming at the moment, thank you so much for sticking around from the beginning until end. Thank you so much, Miss Imee Enriquez and Congressman Orestes Salon of ACTS OFW Party List, and Mr. Roy Seneres of the OFW Family Party List. We will be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back, and you are still with us for our finale. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of the OFWs watching with us. Oh, of course, we have few friends here. John Bertis, thank you, John. Melva Pahimago, Enteng Yu, thank you. Jenny Rose Carmona. Of course, Miss Monique Seneres, the better half of Mr. Roy Seneres, thank you. Imelda De Sales, of course, Mary Ann and Sir Ruel, Freedom Refugee. Thank you for watching with us. For suggestions, comments, feedback, please get in touch via our email, thefilippinosworld@gmail.com. You may also follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at the Filipinos World. If you want to become one of our sponsors, please send us your intent via email at thefilippinosworld@gmail.com. If you want your story to be featured in the Filipinos World and you believe you are one of the Filipinos who inspire other Filipinos, please let us know and write us an email at thefilippinosworld@gmail.com.
I wish to thank all of our guests for today. Representatives Imee Enriquez and Congressman Orestes Salon of ACT's OFW Party List and Mr. Roy Seneres of OFW Family Party List for gracing this afternoon's episode.
The Filipinos World would like to thank Mr. Paul Markovich, the executive producer, technical staff, Mr. Deo Malina, who is in Surigao City at the moment. To all the OFW groups and advocates, a special mention to kaagapay ako ng bawat OFWs in Saudi Arabia, and to all supporters and viewers of the Filipinos World.
For this, we say, we bring Filipinos closer to the world, we bring the world closer to the Filipinos, and the Filipinos closer to each other.
This has been your TFW Agnes, along with the CEO of Ako Bakwit Incorporated, Mr. Naz Far Mariwa Berganio, thanking everyone and wishing everyone a blessed weekend. Thank you so much, Naz, for being the host for today. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a blessed weekend. Stay safe, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you.
It's more fun in the